Hi guys, it's Khalif and niaje? Kuna chai? And I'm in Mombasa. We've come to collect the BMW X1. Just landed a few moments ago at More International. It's actually quite a cold day in Mombasa. Never thought I'd actually experience this. I'm regretting why I didn't carry my jacket, because it's just about to rain. I'm at the coast car park, just waiting for my agent to come, and then we remove the vehicle. Finally my guy is here, so let's go check out the car. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Welcome to the cockpit of the 2015 BMW X1 20i Xdrive. This looks like a ZF Gearbox. I don't know if I can check. Actually we can, yes. So this is how you check if it's an 8-speed on the X1. You just shift it to manual like this, and then try and manually move up the gears. So in this case the gears go all the way to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So far everything looks good. I'm not getting any warning lights. I'm not getting any check engine. There are no errors. So I think the next thing will be to drive it off from this parking. We'll head over to a petrol station, and then we'll just do some basic checks. Maybe check the level of oil, check the tire pressure, just check the basics, check if we have enough coolant, check the condition of the tires, and then I'll probably depart from Mombasa tomorrow very early in the morning. So I'm still weighing my options, but at the moment that seems like a viable option, because I still wanted to have a look at some other cars that we've shipped for other clients in the port. So off we go. Hi guys, this is day 2 in Mombasa. We came to pick the BMW X1. Unfortunately, we could not make the departure to Nairobi on time. Being a 480 kilometer long journey, I normally like classifying the sections of Mombasa Road into 3 stretches. So stretch 1 is from Mombasa to Voi. Stretch 2 is from Voi to Mtito Andei, and sorry, that should be stretch 2. Stretch 3 is from Mtito Andei all the way to Nairobi, and I'm going to explain why. Ideally, this is what we might call the route briefing. So stretch 1 from Mombasa to Voi, we're probably going to expect, we're not going to expect much, let me just say that, because it's a 150, should be a 150 kilometer stretch of road from Mombasa to Voi town. A huge chunk of that section is actually through human settlements. So you have towns like Mariakani, Makinon, as I've mentioned earlier. But past Makinon, as you now start closing in on Voi, the road actually goes through a national park. So one of the biggest challenges of driving through a national park is the fact that you need to be on the lookout for wild animals. And I've had some particularly crazy occurrences once when I was driving on that road, and I don't know what KWS was doing with a couple of elephants. So you're suddenly driving, all of a sudden you see elephants crossing the road, chased by a helicopter. Very, very crazy stuff. So you need to look out for such things. And there's also the particular aspect of cops who want to catch you for flouting some traffic rules. So you need to be very careful with the overtaking, especially on there's a section, I think it should be around Maungu, where they normally park on the road and they try to catch you for overtaking on a straight line. So nothing really much, but the stretch from Voi to Mtito is very challenging. The reason is, for very many years, that particular section of that road was always plagued by issues to do with potholes. And the more they keep repairing that section, they never seem to get it right. So we always have issues with the road leveling. So if you're driving a very unstable car, you need to be extremely careful on that section, because the unevenness of the road can actually make you lose control. Another reason I find that section quite challenging is the fact that it goes through like 90% of that. It's over 100 kilometers long by the stretch from Voi to Mtito. A huge chunk of that area doesn't have human settlements. I can only remember one town, and that should be Manyani, where there's a certain I think maximum security prison. So with the exception of Manyani, there are no other towns. I might be wrong. I'm seeing as if there might be one town, but you guys can correct me on the comment section. So I might be wrong, but there are no human settlements. So that's quite challenging, because if you're driving on that section and something goes wrong with your car, you might be in a lot of trouble. And lastly but not least, the third section is from Mtito to Nairobi, and this is the easy section. Why? We are driving through Kambani, so there are a lot of human settlements. I don't remember any section where there's a national park. And the road is also well marked, excellent condition, no potholes. And in case anything goes wrong, there are so many towns you could literally sought help from. Once we pass Mtito, the next town should be Makindu. I'm just going to mention the major towns. There's Makindu, there's Masimba, there's Emali, Sultan Hamud, Machakos, all the way to Nairobi. So once we get to that section, Mimi hujua 1 feet into Nairobi. So from Mtito all the way to Nairobi is around 220 to around 260 kilometers. I can't quite get the exact number. So that's our route briefing, and I think I'm ready to go. The vehicle is just getting cleaned, and I'm pretty excited to be driving the BMW X1. So let's take off. Currently approaching Makupa Causeway. We still haven't refueled. I only did like 3,000 shillings yesterday when I picked the car. I didn't have my card, so had a small issue with my card. So I want us to go to the petrol station and fill her up, and then from there we will be able to proceed to Nairobi. So right now I'm just going past the causeway. This is typically where I normally set my what's this thing called? This I normally set my reset my auto. So how did we used to reset the auto on BMW? I think the button should be somewhere here. Actually no, this is the button. So let me set it to 0. Yes, this is my 0 point. Let me tell the guy to top me up with around probably 5,000 worth of fuel, as we also check the front. Hapo niko poa. Taniongezea 4,000 regular. So 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 I've actually added around how much was that? This was around 4,000 worth of fuel. That was I did 3,000 yesterday. Now I've done 4,000. That's 7,000. We are slightly below the 3/4 mark, and the range is reading around 323. So I think we might need to add more fuel. Meanwhile, I'm keeping a guy behind us waiting, so let me just move ahead. Sawa, haina shida. Wacha niingie. Unajua nimeona nikana ama mwekee kwanza. Mwekee kwanza. Yeah. So as he tops up the other guy, I could be checking how things are looking at the front. So this is the engine bay area. It's an N20 engine. I've already noted we have an error message regarding this. We need to top up our washer fluid, and probably, yeah, I think probably that. Niaje? Iko sawa, naongeza tu nini? Maji ya wiper tu. So you'll need to top up this. A good thing with a lot of these modern cars is the fact that if anything is due for service, you normally get a message. Or if you're running, if your quality of oil is not very good, again you'll also get a message. Iko na soap, utaniwekea soap kiasi. Nasema utaniwekea yenye kuna yenye kona sabuni kidogo. Like mixing it with a bit of soapy water. Kinda helps repel the rain. Takes in a lot of water, it might seem. As they top up that, we can also be checking if we have any other pending error warnings. Now, two ways to do that. You can access the error code warning messages from the instrument cluster or from the iDrive. So from the iDrive, you'll want to press the menu, and then it takes you to vehicle not vehicle settings. It's supposed to be at vehicle information. Click on the vehicle information, vehicle status, and it gives you all the requisite information. The engine oil level is okay, and confirm tire pressure. This is for resetting the tire pressure, but if we had an anomaly with the tire pressure, you'd also get a red warning on the wheels that have a problem. And then there's the engine oil level. So there's the engine oil level. We are currently at max. There's also the service required section, so we might need to check the engine oil might be due for replacement, but typically these messages are normally not very accurate. You'll find the vehicle was serviced in Japan, but they never bothered to update these what do we call them, these service aspects. So you'll find maybe the person who did the service did it himself, and he doesn't have the right diagnostic softwares to clear all these errors, because we already did a check on the engine oil. That was yesterday, and the brake fluids and everything else, and everything was actually okay. Rear brake pads, front brake pads, okay. Now that's option number one. Option number two, you can use this button over here. This acts like a backup in case the iDrive system fails. So it just goes to show you the sort of redundancy, what would I call them, redundancy aspects, engineering aspects that German cars typically have. So if the iDrive fails, which it does at times, you can always access some of these critical settings from this menu over here, and you will do this. You will play around with these buttons over here. Yes, So you press this button like this, and then it takes you to the service info page, and it tells you when the last service was done. So as I've said, this information is not updated, and the brake pads should be due in another 60,000 keys, rear brake pads in another 31,000 kilometers, and emission checks have not been done. And the brake fluid, there was an error with the brake fluid in 2019 which was never sorted out. But as I've said, it's now 2022. This car was being driven when we bought it, so the owner just didn't clear these errors. So once we get to Nairobi, those are some of the things I'll have to do before we release the vehicle to the new owner. Yeah, and I think that's it for the iDrive infotainment system. So I just want this guy to add me a bit of fuel, because we are still below. I still feel this is insufficient fuel. Price of fuel is actually quite crazy, because a while ago 7,000 shillings was enough to give you a full tank, but nowadays with the state of the economy, I might have to add probably another 3,000 just to get to the full tank level. So I've done the fuel top up, and off we go. So I'm still trying. I'm having a problem figuring out how the trip meter works. So we'll check the Portraits bypass, and which takes you next to the SGR station, and then we'll later rejoin the Nairobi Mombasa highway. So it's kind of like we've taken a detour from instead of following the Nairobi Mombasa highway directly, we've taken a detour through the bypass. I don't know what they call this bypass in Mombasa, but it's the bypass that takes you to Portraits. Something else I actually forgot to mention when you're driving on Mombasa Road. These long trucks and bus drivers are in most cases driven by mad people, so you also need to be very, very careful with these guys. Okay, not all of them are bad drivers, but there's a sizable majority of truck and bus drivers who tend to be very reckless. I think that sort of bravado comes with being on the road for too long. You need to be careful when overtaking them, because he might just decide to swerve back to his lane and hit you. So this is Portraits, and if you take this exit, it takes you to the port. It's actually called the Nairobi. Sorry, this is I think this should be the Southern Bypass. So we term it the Mombasa Southern Bypass, not to confuse it with the other Southern Bypass in Nairobi. That's the port over there. Eastern Central Africa's largest port. And finally we are on the Southern Bypass. There's an SGR station over here. I think it's more of a cargo terminal. So we've departed at around 12:40 p.m. So we are still late, but I'll try and see how much we're able to catch up. Check our alignment. This tunnel was built because of the Moi International Airport. One of the runways terminates somewhere around here. So I think maybe for terrorism reasons, or maybe to protect drivers from aircraft, I don't know. They built these. It's called what? this shed of sorts. It looks like a tunnel, but it's more or less of a shed. This is the SGR passenger station. I think it's called Mariakani. This is the Mombasa station, but it's in a place called Mariakani. So this is the Mombasa terminus. Very beautiful and modern. And there's Dongokundu bypass, which will link should be Mombasa and Diani. So I think it's currently under construction. So I don't know how long it's going to take to be finished, but I can see they're already doing a bridge over there. Once that road is done, there won't be any reason to drive into Mombasa town for a guy who wants to say go do a holiday in Diani. Because typically right now you have to go to Mombasa, catch the ferry, so that you're able to cross to the southern side, or alternatively take the Kinango route, which has some very rough patches. I think we should drive on that road these coming days. I've just rejoined Mombasa Road. I'm trying to remember the highway code for this road. Is it the A104 or the A109? I'm not very sure. But we just joined the main highway to Nairobi. So from this point, hakuna mahali tunapiga kona ama tunatoka nje. It's just driving along this road and it takes you to Nairobi. Again, if you drive on this road straight without making any deviations in course, it takes you to Kampala and Uganda. Very interesting. I just imagine a future where, let's say, African countries decide, to really work on these highways, and it will be possible for me to, let's say, drive from Mombasa to, say, Lagos. It will be pretty awesome. Roughly 50 kilometers away from Voi town. And this section has some very nice stretches of road where if you're a fast driver, they give you a very good avenue to test the limits of your vehicle. But I only recommend that if you're a good driver. Otherwise, you could end up on the side of the road if you're using the wrong type of equipment. Anyway, this is one of the advantages of an 8-speed gearbox. I don't know if my camera can pick this up, but right now we are at 120 kilometers per hour and we are holding very comfortably an RPM of 2000. This is a big improvement on the X1, because older models of the X1 were terrible when it came to long distance cruising. That's because they were offered with a 6-speed gearbox and the engine was a naturally aspirated one. So you have a situation where the car didn't have a lot of power and the gearbox was also not optimized for this type of cruising. So this is one of the main reasons I really love the ZF gearbox. So we've covered around 150 kilometers right now. We are at Voi town. Just want to charge my laptop and some of my cameras, and then we proceed onwards to Mtito. We are almost past, we're actually at half tank, and currently estimating around 40 kilometers to the town of Mtito, which is our midpoint. Oh god, this guy is overtaking so poorly. Fuck! The fuck is he doing? Jeez. I told you, truck guys will kill you on this road quite easily. They are quite reckless, they're very slow, and in most cases they simply don't give a fuck. Whoa. So I don't know if you guys can notice how uneven the road is, which makes it very easy to lose control. If you're driving a car that's unstable, you don't try and reduce your speed on this section. However, something else interesting about the Voi to Mtito section is the fact that you're also able to maintain very good speeds at times. Because past Voi, the traffic significantly reduces. I normally call it a black point of sorts, in the sense that there are no settlements in between, so there's very little traffic between. There's very little traffic between the towns if you're transiting from Voi to Mtito. So you won't find those slow town service matatus. You won't spot any border riders. It's simply motorists who are either going to Nairobi or Mombasa. So that means we're able to maintain a very high speed. and we've actually cruised quite fast. We are almost getting close to Mtitwandei right now, and we departed Voi slightly around 40 minutes ago. What is it doing? But once we get to Mtitwandei, driving on towards Nairobi, we are going to encounter a lot of traffic. Oh, look, zebras. So those are some of the animals you have to watch out for when you're driving on this road. I don't know if this is our lucky day, but if it is, we might also spot some elephants somewhere ahead. The the X1 handles very well. Very solid car. It's a BMW. They feel very firm on the road. And trust me, I'm really enjoying this drive. Another zebra over there. Currently doing 160. So I'm really trying to speed up, recover some lost time, and hopefully make it to Nairobi by around 7. Whoa! Don't know if you guys can feel the shaking. Jeez. Now you can imagine what this will feel to a guy driving a Prado or some other unstable SUV. Whoa, jeez. And then, because of overloading, the road has some contours which kinda want to push you to one direction. Quite scary at times. And you need to be strong to drive on this road. Very blind. I don't think we'll overtake. Let me just wait. You know that I want to be good for you. You know that I want to be good. So this is Mtitwandei. We've covered the stretch from Voi to Mtito without any issues. So far, no warning lights. I know there are people who are probably waiting for me to say we've developed an issue, because they believe BMW is the hotbed of all problems, but nothing could be further from the truth. These cars are quite reliable, very excellent cars, very popular, going by the numbers even locally, and they're awesome cars as long as you take good care of them. So she's handled pretty well, and I think I'm feeling a bit hungry. So there's a particular restaurant somewhere over there that's called Ruby, and it's normally my favorite restaurant. Unconditional love. Sometimes we just call it, but we keep on trying. Know it'll be okay, 'cause we got unconditional. I'm tempted to mention a certain brand of chicken, but I won't. We need to top up our, what's that thing called? We need to top up the washer fluid. So yep, this is it. Let me go have some lunch. So the sun is setting, and I'm having problems with my vision, because that setting sun is literally aiming its rays towards my eyes. Oh god, it's a very tricky place to overtake, but with all the power on the N20, not much of a problem. So the stretch from Mtitwandei to Nairobi has a lot of traffic. This is because we are mostly driving through Ukambani. There are a lot of people, so there's a lot of town-to-town activity. That means you have to be on the watch out for shuttles and those FH matatus those mtito raha, you know, sort of matatus, zile za Wakamba, zile za kwenda Ukambani huko ndani. You have to be on the lookout for such matatus. That means generally more traffic, but the quality of the road is good. I'm not very familiar with this town, but we are not far off from Makindu. Let me just ask a guy where we are. Ni aje? Hii town inaitwa? Kinya. Next ni Makindu. Kibwezi alafu Makindu. Sasa. So this is Kinya, and then the next town is Kibwezi, and then Makindu. So our distance measuring equipment states that we've covered 283 kilometers, and Nairobi is supposed to be at the 480 kilometer marker. That means 480 minus 283, we have 200 kilometers remaining and we get to Nairobi. So sahi ni kama tuko Nakuru. Nakuru is like 160 kilometers from Nairobi, so more accurate ni kama tuko Salga tukienda Nairobi. This is Emali town. Emali is located some rough 120 kilometers from the city of Nairobi. So that's like roughly the distance from let's say Nairobi to a place like Gilgil or Lementaita. Yeah, roughly. So if you want to go to Tanzania, there's a we just passed what's this thing called? There's a turnoff slightly behind that takes you to Tanzania through a town called Kimana, and you make the exit into Tanzania at a border point called should be Tarakea. Very soon we'll be driving the Q5, Audi Q5 from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam. That's like an ultra long range road trip, if there's something of that sort. So we'll probably route via Mombasa, and then Mombasa to Dar es Salaam via Tanga, and then we'll make the return leg Dar es Salaam via Moshi. Is it Moshi? Yeah, I think not Dar es Salaam via, I'm not very sure. Dar es Salaam, Moshi, and then back to Kenya via Tarakea, and then we'll end up at this exact same point at Emali, then Emali, Nairobi. So we are still planning. The vehicle is in good shape. It's always in good shape, and once we are ready to do that particular road trip, I'll keep you guys posted. This is Machakos Junction. And when you see all these trucks, it's a major stopover for the trucking guys. Hapa ile anasa inakuanga hii place, wacha tu. These towns that you see a lot of trucks parked on the side have a very nasty side to them. So there's always aspects like prostitution and a lot of partying. And you know, these things go hand in hand. If you spend the whole day driving a big truck, you probably want to unwind, and there are so many options with that you can unwind. So we are currently getting an indication that our fuel level is critically low. So I think I'm going to top up my fuel by, let's say, 1,000. So that brings to a total of yesterday I did 3,000. Today we've done 6,000. It's 9,000. Now I'm going to add probably 1,000. That should be enough to get us to Nairobi. Utaniongezea mafuta ya 1,000. Mnachukua visa? Haya, utaniongezea mafuta ya 1,000. Tough economy, eh? Whoa. Let me see the front and see what's been happening. I can't smell any trace of oil, but this vehicle is actually low mileage. 60,000 keys is quite low for an 8-year-old BMW. So I don't really expect those sort of problems right now. So let me top up the gas, and we should be in Nairobi in the next 50 or 60 minutes. And finally we have a visual of Sin City. Those are the bright lights of Nairobi city. But it's actually quite interesting how the dual carriage from Machakos to Athi River makes things easy. You're able to cover this car stretch in almost less than 10 minutes, or even less than 15 minutes. And that's one of the wins we are experiencing thanks to the current regime. They've really focused a lot of the spending on roads, which is a good thing. Oh God, so someone tried to put a bump over here. I don't know why you don't put maram bumps on tarmac, but you know, in Kenya contractors do a lot of crazy things. So next town should be at the river, and then at the river, Mlolongo, Ivo hadi we ingia until we join the expressway. So just driving past Syokimau right now, and we're basically in Nairobi. I think the border between Machakos County and Nairobi is somewhere near the airport. So this is the expressway on our right hand side. I didn't really see the need to pay the tolls right now, and there's no traffic on the main road. But I think I'll rejoin the expressway at around slightly past the eastern bypass. Sawa. Asante sana. Asante. Ladies and gentlemen, we've gotten to the end of our journey. It's been quite a thrill driving the BMW X1. I'm quite happy about its performance. I'm actually impressed. Those who know me can tell you I'm an Audi diehard, but you gotta give it to the X1. Excellent performance. So thanks a lot for watching, if you took your time to watch the whole journey. And we'll be meeting again. The next video, we should be doing the road trip to Dar es Salaam, and I'm pretty excited about it. So thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe. Until we meet again, guys.